Addiction to Purpose with Riches in Recovery welcomes you to our audience. We hope that you enjoyed today's show and will join in the discussion by dropping a review or comment. It would be tremendous if you would like, rate, and share our content, or even subscribe to our channel. Please be aware that not all conversations on this show are suitable for children. Additionally, we may talk about things such as sexual abuse, domestic violence, and drug or alcohol abuse. If you feel that these things may trigger you, please do not tune in. Finally, if you are a heavy daily user of alcohol or drugs and are considering stopping, please consult a medical professional for assistance. Welcome to the conversation. Hi, welcome to Addiction to Purpose this week. This week's going to be a little different format. This week's show is going to be hosted by my wife, Abby. She's going to be joined by two of her friends, and they're going to be talking about the woman's side of relationships when you're trying to get sober together. And this is going to be part one of a two-part episode series that we're doing called Sober Together. And so next week, you're going to get to hear the guy's side of the saga, and I will be hosting that one. So this week you're going to get to hear the story from the woman's side, what their challenges were, and so on. I'm really excited to do this series. I think it'll help a lot of people out there. And yeah, so that will get underway here in a few minutes. And I do just want to say, if you get a moment to make a comment or like or give a review to our show, it would be greatly appreciated. And probably more importantly, if you're so inclined to subscribe or even share the episode, it's the true purpose of the show to reach as many people as possible and to share the stories that we share, to tell people that recovery is possible and that there really is a better way of life. So with that, we will turn it over to my wife, Abby, where she will share her truths.
We've got shots fired at 8th and F Street. That's downtown at 8th and F. Shots fired. We're going to need some backup.
Okay, I hope that you get that was my clumsy attempt at humor. Have a great show.
So I'll start with introducing our guests. On this side, we have...
my name is Michaela.
And sober date?
Oh, sober date is April 27th of 2021.
And what are you grateful for?
I am grateful for my sobriety and my family.
All right. Go ahead and write that down.
Okay.
She'll add to our grateful wall that's behind us. And next guest?
I'm Danielle. My sober date is August 21st, 2023.
And
just celebrated a year.
Nice.
I'm grateful for my repaired relationships with family.
Awesome. Yeah, that's a really good one.
Yeah, that is.
I think so.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah.
And I'm Abby, Richard's wife, as many of you might already know. My sober date is March 19th, 2023. And I'm grateful for a whole bunch of things. But yesterday I was grateful for my workout rowing machine. So I'm going to say that. Because it's really cool and beautiful machinery. So.
That sounds really cool.
I like it.
But I was super grateful. I was like cleaning it off and setting up our workout room yesterday.
Yeah.
And I was like, this is a really beautiful piece of machinery.
Oh, yeah.
So,
For sure.
so that's what I'm grateful for.
That's a good one. I like it.
All right. I love being grateful for stuff. Let's dive into the questions.
Alrighty.
So how long have you and your partner been together? So we'll just do popcorn. Anybody can answer.
Okay.
About 6 years?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
6
wow.
years? Total with dating, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, we just jumped right in.
But you and Dustin have known each other for...
Probably 10
Yeah.
years. Yeah, 10 years.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh gosh, I guess 3 years, and we met in rehab,
Mhm.
and we officially started dating our last month in rehab. So yeah, we met there and then just went for it. Yeah.
Now I have to ask you a scandalous question.
Yeah.
Did you do the thing that you're not supposed to do where you dating in rehab? They're like, don't date anybody in rehab.
Yeah,
And you did.
absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. I honestly don't know how we got away with it. I think that having other friends there, and just us being like so kind to other people and them being kind to us and having those kind of relationships really like helped us to keep our relationship there because no one was like, oh, we hate these guys, we're gonna go rat on them,
yeah.
so it was just like, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, sometimes those things work out, which is really nice.
Yeah, it was really definitely like not where I expected to meet my husband. Like my first husband, never thought that I would meet him in rehab, but everything happens for a reason, I guess,
Yeah, and there's always exceptions to the rule, for sure. I was going to say, Richard and I have we've been together for 23 years, married for 23 years. We've known each other for 24. And so, we've been together for a long time.
Yeah.
And I guess we are the exception to the rule as well. In that way, we got married when we were 20 years old.
Wow.
So that doesn't always work out.
Right.
Yeah. So, but we've been through a lot.
Absolutely.
So, and as I've mentioned in a previous episode, it is a miracle that we're still together today. So, I'm grateful for that also, which I had mentioned.
Great.
But anyway. All right. Did you drink and use together before you decided to get clean and sober?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that was like, I would say, what we got along about in the beginning. Could drink the way I did. Just party the way I did.
Yeah.
And we had fun together.
Yeah, one thing about Danielle and I is we are actually drinking buddies. Not now, but we were.
Really?
Yeah, that's how we met. Was at a bar.
We were bar friends.
Yeah, we met at the bar first.
Yeah.
So we were drinking buddies first. So
Yep.
It's funny, it's kind of like full circle though.
yeah, it really is.
It's funny how much of our group has started getting sober. I'm like, okay,
Yeah.
guess we're onto something here.
Yeah, so my answer to that is also yes. My husband and I also did drink and use together. Not at the beginning, but throughout. So
Well, 24 years is a long time.
yeah.
Yeah, no, me and Cody have never drank or used together, but there was a part of Cody's sobriety recovery where he started drinking again, and I got to see that side of him for a couple weeks or so, and you kind of just like give him the ultimatum, like I want this so bad, like I want sobriety so bad, and I can't have you in it if you aren't going to get your shit together.
Yeah.
And then they get their shit together. So
That's funny. That's a conversation I think all three of us have had.
Yeah.
I mean, because I know she's had it. I've definitely had it too. Because I have. Well, actually, that bringing on to that's actually one of our questions later is who was first to get sober.
Right.
And that brings us to that question: is I was the first to get sober in my relationship,
Right.
and he relapsed a whole bunch of times, and at one point. He's like, oh, well, maybe it's just going to be what I do. I just relapse every 6 months or so. And I'm like, if that's going to be you, then I'm not going to be here.
Can't be a part of that.
I'm not going to be a part of that because I was like, I am not going to live that life.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah, definitely been there. Well, Dustin, he was the first one initially to get sober. He went to treatment. We had a few rounds. It's been a couple-year process.
Yeah.
And each time he went to rehab, I was like, sweet, I have my month to drink the way I want to, and then I will tone it down when he gets back. And it definitely forced me to think about my drinking.
Yeah.
I couldn't really ignore it for that much longer. So something happened like one weekend where I went crazy. And my parents did a welfare check on me. And when I woke up in a psych hospital, I was like, oh, I think I'm done. Not even think. I was just like, I'm not even calling Dustin. I'm calling my parents. I can't do this anymore.
Right.
So I ended up moving out because he said he was sober, calls me and got a DUI and things like that. So 3 months later, he finally went back to rehab. And we lived separately for like 6 months, 10 months. Yeah. And now he's back in, and I made that thing, that conversation where I'm like, you have one drink, I don't care what kind of relapse it is, like
Yeah.
I'm done with the relapses. Like
Right.
this path is something I can't go down.
Yeah.
And I'm not as strong as you. Like I'm having that in my house, I don't know if I could.
Well, I don't know. Well, I know how I did it. God was with me. My higher power was with me,
Yeah.
and well, actually, it's funny that you mentioned that because somebody was. I don't know if I was watching a show or if I was talking to somebody, but there was something about divorce and how somebody just threw in the towel and they're, just they hit this point where it was over. You know what I mean? And they know when it's over and it's done. And I think the difference, at least for me, in me and Richard saving it is because we had a marriage before all of that.
Yeah.
And we had a good marriage before all of that. And we had something to save, and we knew if we could get back there that it's worth saving. And so that's where it's like, if we can get back there, and I know who he is without the alcohol. I knew him before that.
Yeah.
And he is the person I loved before that. So if I don't have that, if we didn't have that, I wouldn't be with him probably. Or we wouldn't be together. Maybe, I mean, because I'm an alcoholic too, so
Yeah.
it's not like,
Yeah.
if he, at one point he was talking about, he would have to leave me also, or we wouldn't be together. But we had something that we knew we could achieve if we could get back to that, or something similar anyway. You know what I mean? So, at least for me, that's what I had decided, that if we had that to hold on to save.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And some people don't have that. They don't have, even if they have a marriage before it, maybe it's not enough,
Yeah. I mean, Dustin and I had drinking. The whole thing was drinking.
Yeah.
We didn't have, I honestly wasn't sure who he was without the drinking.
Yeah.
I knew down there, deep down, there was a good person who I really cared about, but at the same time, it's like that was what we did.
Yeah.
So, it was some good times.
Yeah.
To be fair, we did have some good times.
No, until they became not good times.
All right. So how involved are you in one another's programs?
I am not involved in his program at all, and I don't want to be. That was something that I learned my second time around in 2021 of sobriety with my sponsor. Is he has his program, I have my program. If I try to interfere with his program, it may disrupt my program. So just keeping those separate, and I think that's really helped us in our sobriety because in a relationship, sometimes you tend to focus on the other person more than you focus on yourself. And so having your, separate programs, I think just helps better your sobriety. And focus on yourself. So we aren't involved. I know his sponsor. He knows my sponsor. I know his sponsor's wife. We know, sponsors' families and everything, but when it comes to working the steps and sponsoring other people and our higher powers, we keep that totally separate, and that's just something that works for us.
I think kind of similar to that, where I have to keep it separate. We'll go to meetings together. I don't know his sponsor. I just kind of stop asking because that was a huge thing for me, was asking about the drinking, wondering all that. So me keeping tabs on his sobriety and how he's doing his program is only gonna hurt me.
Yeah.
So as long as the behavior I see and what he's doing with himself is on point with what we are trying to do and what I expect from him out of his sobriety, then I don't really need to question it.
Yeah.
And trying to do that would drive me crazy.
Right.
Yeah, same for me. My program is my program and his program is his program. The only thing that, well, actually initially what happened was actually the very, 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 very first time I got sober, I started to get sober. I stopped drinking and he was still drinking. And this is totally bad and codependent, so don't judge me for it. But what happened was I was like, why can't you get sober? And he's like, well, it'd be a lot easier if you weren't stumbling so much. And I'm like, that was a shitty thing for him to say, but I was like, fine. Indignant, stubborn me said, fine, fuck you. I'm going to stop drinking. So I did. I took myself out of the equation, right? And then it flipped back on him, and he could see that he had a problem.
Right.
At that point, he was probably blaming a lot of it on me or us together, and thinking that because I was drinking, that's why he was drinking or whatever. And when I stopped, then all of a sudden the mirror was reflecting on him. And so, of course, I relapsed and stuff like that after that. But that initial time, then I started working a program, and I did not include him in it. That initial thing was the first time I actually did it where I was doing something on my own. And I am a very, very severely codependent person. So that was a huge thing for me to separate from him. Yeah, I got married at 20. I was living with my mom before that, and I married a person into another home to be with him. So it's like I've never lived on my own,
Right.
Anything. So it's like, codependent, whatever. And then and he loved it. We love being together. We love each other, and we're best friends. But having that was like really one of the first things that I really did on my own for myself.
Yeah.
So, and then I started getting tangled up with him again because he started not being able to be sober, blah, blah, blah. And I realized, like you, I can't keep tabs on him because it's hurting me, and I can't do that. So I again stopped, and the only thing I did was I made sure he ate food. That's it, and didn't drive.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, you can't drive, and I will feed you. That's it. I'll make sure you stay alive. That's it.
There you go. That's all you have to do.
I was like, you will stay alive, and that's all I'm responsible for. And then, if it goes too long, then maybe we'll get divorced. I don't know. But, it was tough.
That is really tough.
But now, as far as now, he has his own program. I know his sponsor. She knows my sponsor. But our programs are separate. And sometimes we go to meetings together like that, too. But we have two separate programs,
I think it's also different because I don't have a sponsor.
Mhm.
I go to meetings, but that's kind of the extent of it.
Yeah.
Like I do my therapy. I have a relationship with my higher power, but I haven't gone that route yet. So I also feel like I can't really judge what he's doing or
Yeah.
because we all do it differently.
Yeah, for sure. Absolutely. All right. Do you have an experience that you can share that was difficult to go through while you were trying to get and or staying clean and sober? So it was difficult to get through while trying to get or stay clean and sober. A difficult experience while trying to get clean or stay clean. If you're comfortable saying it.
She's
Like a million?
yeah, which one? I mean, I guess like in my younger years, going to college after high school, wanting to succeed and get a 4-year degree, and a good job was just impossible to do because I always had a drink. And then it got to the point where I would go to Dutch Bros in the morning across the street from the JC and get their watermelon iced tea and put vodka in it and then go into my classes. So, I'm showing up to school, but am I really learning? No. And then am I going home and doing the homework? No. I'm drinking, right? So that didn't really work out, obviously. And then, also trying to have a job, right? Working in the restaurant industry is really difficult when you're trying to be sober, especially when alcohol is all around you. You're in Sonoma County. You have all these wineries and everything, right? You have wine reps coming to your work, beer reps, right? Giving you free alcohol to taste, but also trying to do your job and not get fired, which I ultimately did, right? So just a few, just a couple.
Yeah.
Not not sure about that.
Yeah. I was gonna say.
I've had a long journey with it.
Right.
I'm like,
I think like keeping the relationships as well, like trying to go to like family events, like birthdays and stuff. I would miss those because I wanted to drink instead,
Yeah.
or I would want to drink before I went to those because I didn't want them to see how much I'm, drinking there. So I'd be like, okay, I'm going to get drunk before.
Yeah.
But then I'd be like, oh shit, I'm wasted. I can't drive. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
I'm really wasted. Like, yeah, I would drive wasted, but like, it would be like, no. Like, you've had 2 bottles of wine.
Yeah, the math doesn't
Like,
work out.
like you can't, like, I literally can't even do that, And then kind of ruining those relationships. I remember there were a couple funerals that I had made plans with my family members to go to, and they would call and, be outside my house trying to like take me, to the funeral, and I wouldn't answer and I just didn't go, right? So then those relationships kind of started to just kind of disappear.
Yeah.
So.
yeah, I definitely can relate to that. Like, I think towards the end, I couldn't keep plans to save my life.
Right.
Like,
Yeah.
if you were trying to make evening plans, like 4 o'clock,
No.
it wasn't gonna happen.
Yeah.
Like, so I stopped making plans. Like,
Yeah.
Right.
I think we would hang out and we like.
That's because we spent the night at each other's houses.
We would spend weekends at each other's house.
We would
because
literally spend
like
3
the
days
next day.
together.
We're like, oh, we got a hangover, and we actually have alcohol left.
Yeah.
So, and then you could just go into the next day, and that would be like my plan for the weekend.
Yes,
Yeah.
that's what we did.
So,
Yeah.
but like plans with family or
Yeah.
friends that weren't drinking that way, it just became really difficult
Yeah.
to keep those. So it's been nice. Actually, like rebuilding those friendships.
Right.
Like, oh, you want to come over after work? I don't plan on being shit faced.
Right.
Oh, that is the funniest thing where you're like, oh my gosh, I can go somewhere after work.
I'm allowed
because
to
I'm not
drive.
drunk?
I know.
What?
It's still weird.
For real, man. I'm like, oh wait, it's 7:30 and I can just run out to the store because
I
I
know.
forgot something?
I
We're
know.
like, oh, I can do a workout at the end of the day because
Right.
I'm not so drunk.
I know.
I'm like,
yeah. Or I can like cook dinner and
I
yeah.
don't have to do everything before 11.
And it's not going to get burned because I
Mhm.
cooked it while I was drunk and forgot that there was garlic on the stove.
Right, exactly. Yeah.
And now I have to go order McDonald's because I
Yeah.
burned our only dinner.
There you go. Yeah.
Oh man. Yeah, I don't know. I have a ton of stories like that, but I can't think of one right now. But yeah, and it was funny. Well, it's funny thing is upon thinking about my addiction, I was like, oh, it's been mostly recent, but as I keep thinking about it, we moved every like 4 or 5 years since we got married. And if I think about that, there's kind of a pattern to that.
Yeah.
And like we made friends here, then we moved. Then we made friends here, then we moved. Then we made friends here, then we moved. Then we made friends here, then we moved. I was like, huh. And the friendships, some of them lasted, some of them didn't. But
Yeah.
it was like, it wasn't really wreckage, I would call it necessarily, but it was like not lasting. And we drank everywhere, and not like here.
Yeah.
We weren't heavy drinkers, but we drank. Here's the heaviest we drank.
I was
But-
about to say, wait, you were saying
No,
you were
here is
having
where we
drinks?
drank the most.
I'm like,
Yeah.
that was light.
No, this is where we drank the most.
Okay,
Here.
got it.
But because we were always moving around, we never had family around because we moved away. And so like we just didn't have any kind of like real connections. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think that was partly how we like kept our addiction close to us is
Yeah.
because we didn't have to go to funerals, weddings, birthdays, stuff because we were always out of town. So and we couldn't afford to fly
Right.
ever
Yeah.
because we didn't have any money. And maybe we would have had money. I don't know if we would have or not, but we didn't ever have it. And so then when we were too far to drive most of the time,
Yeah.
Yeah.
so we didn't have to do any family obligations for the most part.
Yeah.
But I think that was, it wasn't really on purpose. It wasn't because we didn't want to. It was just we moved far away and then there was no family obligation. So we're just like, well, fuck it. We're just going to drink then.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And that's not always what we did in the first years, but I mean,
Yeah.
by the time you have so many holidays where you don't need to do anything, guess what you end up doing?
Yeah.
You know? All right. Do you find it difficult to bring up or discuss if your partner is exhibiting risky behaviors?
I don't think I would. Fortunately, we haven't had that issue yet. Or, I don't want to say yet. That's really morbid.
Well, you never know.
I mean, but in the past, definitely I didn't have a problem bringing it up. And I think, like, with him going through Azure, they have that great program with the therapist. So we did the family therapy. And we discussed, like, ways to bring it up if I was concerned or something like that, where I can voice my opinion. So I think we kind of have that understanding that he's not allowed to get mad. Like, I don't think he would at this point, but just for me to voice my concern. So
Yeah.
the communication's definitely a bit better.
Risky behaviors. I mean, I don't really ever see Cody displaying any risky behavior. If anything, I see him exhibiting the complete opposite. You know, like wanting to go to his dogs on the roof meetings, doing campouts with his sober friends, and, you know, fishing and stuff. But if he were to exhibit something that I saw, you know, the one time that I ever saw him drink, I would totally call him out on it. You know what I mean? Like, not drinking in a really long time, like, you can smell alcohol on a person so easily.
A mile away.
Oh yeah, no. Like, he tried to brush his teeth, mouthwash, take a shower. No,
It's coming out of his pores.
Oh my God, no,
Yeah.
I could totally smell it. So
Yeah.
if he were to display any risky behaviors again, I'd totally call him out. I don't give a shit. You
Yeah.
know? Yeah.
Yeah, it's weird because I don't think I would have any trouble now. It was difficult when he was relapsing because he was hiding everything from me, and I knew he was drinking, but then when I would call him out, he would deny it and he would lie. Now he's in a different place, so I don't think I would have an issue now.
Yeah.
But during that whole time of his frequent relapsing, he was not in a place that he wanted to talk about it. And so he would like defensive and, you know, all the things. So it's like I would bring it up if I knew he was in like a soft spot where I was like, hey, I know you're drinking. I can smell it, or I can feel it, or I can, because
Right,
I
just
mean,
no.
Yeah.
no, I mean, okay. I've been with you for a heck of a long time.
Yeah.
Also, like, you walk funny, you talk funny, you smell funny, it's all
Yeah.
there. You know what I mean? And I've been drunk with you enough times
That
where I
you
know
just
all the signs.
Yeah.
Like, I even had a panic attack like a few days ago because he got on the phone and he said something funny, like with a little slur.
Yeah.
And then I was like, oh.
No.
I got like this fear. And then when I got home, I was like, he's fine. But I was just on the phone because of my PTSD
Yeah.
Yeah.
from that. I was like, oh, no way. Because he's in a really good spot now. And I'm like, there's no way.
Right.
So I got home and he's like, totally fine.
Well,
It was just a weird thing. He just moved his voice weird.
Well, have they ever, because I haven't had this experience with Cody because we never, you know, were together for that long and used together, but did they ever try to turn it on you when they had been drinking
All
and
the
make
time.
you seem like you were the crazy one?
Oh, yes.
Right? So then, like, that kind of, you know, made it so you don't have trust. So that's even probably harder to confront them if they have risky behavior.
Yeah.
And then it's like, it's always a fight, so you don't
Right.
want to bring it up, and
Yeah.
then you're mad because you know that they're drinking.
Right.
And then the whole thing, like, for me was when Dustin would hide it, it used to piss me off because I was trying to be sober and support of him.
Yep.
I didn't have a problem,
Mm-hmm.
but I wanted to support him. So then I'd be pissed that
Yeah.
he's drinking and lying to me about it, and I'm not drinking, and I didn't get to drink. And I was like, this is just so confusing.
At the beginning, I was like that, but when
Yeah.
I was actually
Yeah,
trying to be
then-
sober, then I was actually.
But then it
pissed
was
'cause he
just-
drinking,
yeah.
but yeah. But
It
then I was
changed, but
well, yeah. But then I was pissed because I'm like, I'm trying not to drink, and you're drinking and lying to me.
Yeah.
At least be honest about it so that I know what's going on so I can avoid it.
Right.
You know, if you're just drunk over there being an idiot, I know you're drunk. You're just being an idiot, and I
Yeah.
know. So don't lie about it.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
But now I think I'd be able to bring it up now because like even today in the car I was talking to him and he said something that upset me and I called him on it and he's like, yeah, you're right, that was controlling and weird, and I was like, okay, cool.
Oh,
You know.
well, that's nice.
We've come a long way.
Right.
We've come a long way.
Yeah.
And not just him, me as well. You know, I'm trying to be more. We're both working
Yeah.
on both of us. You know.
You guys both are.
Yeah.
I do actually. There was or thing with Dustin where he was going to go to a baseball game with some of his buddies from school or whatever, and they are all heavy drinkers, and so he was like, "I think I'm going to go," and I was like, "Well, I'm just going to have to tell you my opinion. Like, I'm not trying to start a fight, but like, I think it's a terrible idea. I'm not on board with this. I don't agree." And so we kind of like at a point agreed to disagree, and he said he was gonna go, and I was like, well, you know how I feel about it. If you drink, don't like basically just lose my number. But like, and I just left it instead of freaking out about it. But I was like, I've made my point clear.
Yeah.
And then he ended up deciding not to go at the last minute. I was like, okay, well, we didn't have to fight about it. I was able to say how I felt and like kind of lay it out, and I was like, so that's what communication is.
Yeah.
Isn't it weird when they actually listen to you? Like after not listening to you for so long, and you're like, oh, listen to me.
Right.
Oh my gosh.
Big deal.
It is. It's so great. I love it. All right, let's see. Okay, so how is your relationship now? Anybody?
It's good. I feel like, I mean, we have our communications better. I mean, life is still life, but we're living it together and on life's terms. And I mean, he's there to support me. I'm there to support him. We're both going back at school, working full time, and like maintaining our sobriety. And it's just kind of cool. Like, still I get like down and I think like, well, we're not where we thought we'd be or where I thought we should be at this age and this time or whatever. But I mean, from where we were like a year ago, like we've come pretty damn far. So just focus on being grateful for that.
Yeah.
And like just how much things have changed. And yeah, it's pretty crazy.
That's awesome. Yeah, I think that our relationship when it comes to sobriety is really great. Like we both just want it so badly and we both work at it every day. But you know, there's still stuff just because we haven't been together for that long. I mean, 3 years, we got married like 2 years, you know? And so, you know, there's stuff that I still have to work on internally that I have to work with a therapist about. There's stuff that he needs to work on internally. But when it comes to our sobriety, that's one thing that we really agree with, is staying sober because our lives were just so unmanageable, you know, before, and we're in our 30s now and we really want to get our shit together, right? I mean, who knows? Like, I never say never to drinking again. That's just kind of what helps me is if I say I'm never going to do it again, I'm going to probably do it again, right? But if I say today I'm not going to do it again, I'm probably, you know, not going to do it today again. But yeah, so we still have stuff that we need to work on, but when it comes to sobriety, I think we're really great on that. Yeah.
Yeah, we I think I've mentioned we are a lot better than we were, like you said, like a year ago for sure. I don't know. We had, like I said, we had something to save, so we tried to save it, and I think we've been pretty successful at it. We just had our 24th wedding anniversary.
Oh my God.
Congratulations. In July, just this last July. So that was awesome. We didn't really do much, but that's okay. But yeah, so yeah, we're doing really well. And I mean, even after 24 years, we're still learning to communicate in a different way. And you know, talking to each other differently, and again, learning, you know, how are we going to love each other a different way now? You know what I mean? And I wish I had looked up her name, but there's a marriage. I think she's a therapist or counselor or something like that. I think it's a therapist. She was on the Jay Shetty podcast, and she said there is life after adultery, and or there is marriage after adultery. That's what she said. And basically, you have to start a new marriage, because Richard and I both cheated on each other, and basically you have your first marriage and your second marriage. So you have your first marriage that you had, and that one has to go away because it's done. The trust is gone and it's not there. So you start again, and this is your second marriage now. And that's what we did. You know what I mean? It was very, very pins and needles and eggshells for a really long time. But we basically had to be like, you know, and we still have defensive moments and we still have misunderstandings with old behavior. We had it like last weekend.
Yeah.
I was real defensive and I did something, and he's like, and he said something and I said something really defensive, and I walked over to the other side of the room and I said, you know what? That was old behavior, and I'm really sorry. That was my old defensive behavior, and I shouldn't have reacted that way. And then he's like, yeah, I thought that might be what it was, and he's like, okay. But he, you know, I just called it out, and he understood what I meant, and it was okay.
Yeah.
You know, and it's just when two people are really working on it, and we understand the same language, and we're really trying to do a healthy program and work and be with our higher power and be with each other, it really works out.
Yeah.
You know, it really works out. So
I think that's amazing. I've never heard that before, ending one, you know, marriage and then having another one.
Yeah.
That totally makes sense, right? Yeah. I love that.
Yeah, I wish she's very, very famous. She's done a whole bunch of
But you can't remember her name.
No, I wish I looked it up. I wish I had looked her up
We'll
before.
have to look it up.
Yeah, she's very, very famous. She's if I said it, people would know who she was.
Oh, wait, when's your anniversary? Sorry.
July 29th.
Oh, okay. Ours is July 22nd.
Oh, so
that's
close.
nice. Mm-hmm. Love that.
So you just celebrated 2 years?
1 year.
Oh.
Yeah,
I was like trying to do the math.
I know, yeah, close. Yeah, 1 year.
Well,
Congratulations.
Thank you.
All right. So, any wisdom that you can share with our audience that may be struggling with their own relationship?
Yeah, that's a tough
You want my wisdom.
I mean, I think at the end of the day, it's putting it in God's hands.
Yeah.
Or your higher power. I tried to, when I finally made the decision to be sober myself, and I really wanted it for Dustin, because I was like, our relationship is doomed if he doesn't get it. It was hard because I kept fighting to try and make it work, to try and keep him sober while keeping myself sober. But he was just so mad that I had left the house that I wasn't gonna get to him, and I just had to give up and be like, God, I can't do anything. He's either gonna get it or I'm gonna get a really bad phone call, and that's kind of all I can do is pray.
Yeah.
Fortunately, I didn't get a bad phone call.
There you go.
That is really true. Yeah, that's the same with me. You can't control other people, and sometimes you can't even control yourself. So, I have my own sobriety, and I prayed for Richard's sobriety, and luckily God answered my prayer, and that is a miracle that I have today. And I'm so grateful for that miracle, my own miracle and his miracle. And as I mentioned before, we wouldn't even be on this podcast if it weren't for those miracles, which is, even a miracle sitting here with you
I know.
and you.
Thank you.
But it's amazing to me that this is even happening.
Yeah.
Pretty and
crazy.
I just get foot clubbed. Talk amongst yourselves. Anyway, so it's just give it to your higher power. Yeah.
Yeah, I think wisdom, my small amount that I have in a sober relationship would be having empathy for
Yeah.
the other person, you know, not being so hard on each other. You're both, you know, trying to stay sober and, you know, live a new life. And I think sometimes we're just so hard on each other, you know, we need to take a step back and, you know, remember that we're both trying to do this thing. It's difficult for the both of us, right?
Like, I needed to hear that.
Yeah.
Like, I think I need more empathy.
Yeah, right? Just having a little more empathy. Yeah. I think that's what I would say.
Oh, I was gonna say also listening.
Yeah, listening.
Close your
Mhm.
mouth and open your ears.
Right, absolutely.
If you really love that person, you need to treat them with love
Mhm.
and listen.
Yeah.
And actually listen. Don't just pretend to listen.
Right. Yeah, active listening. Repeat what you just heard from the other person.
And try to work out an actual solution. Try to figure it out with the two of you. And that not only helps, but it creates a bond between the two of you.
Yeah.
Because you create your own little system and your own little world,
Mhm.
you know?
Yeah, my therapist actually gave us this little idea where we have like a whiteboard on the fridge, and it's called like a weekly family meeting or whatever. So you put like what topics you want to discuss.
Oh,
So they're not like thrown out of the blue, like, oh, I got hit with this suggestion.
that's great.
So that's like, say Sunday when we talk about it, he knows what to expect or I know what to expect, and we can
Oh.
work on a solution together.
That's awesome.
I love that.
So we haven't done it in a while, but I'm like, things are just
Now you
kind
can
of
do
going.
it. It was like you get home. Do
Yeah,
it today.
maybe we'll do it
Yeah.
today. But I mean, it was a good way to just like kind of keep communication open
Mhm.
and find solutions together instead
love
of
that.
like fighting against each other.
And blindsiding you.
And just for us to like say things that are bothering us,
Yeah.
Yeah.
which is we're very good about like keeping it to ourselves and just holding on to it.
Yeah.
Right, letting it build up.
Yeah, just being angry.
Yeah. It just doesn't work out very well.
No.
All right. So these are the final questions. In the spirit of progress, not perfection, what is something you've been working on lately?
Acceptance.
That's a good one.
I've been working really hard on accepting just to be okay with where I'm at. If that's not okay, if it's happy, if it's sad, it's really hard for me. And I'm also just learning kind of my old patterns now that I don't have alcohol to go to.
Yeah.
My coping mechanism is to go take something small, and I go to a very dark place. So just working on taking a look at things and slowing myself down, which is hard to do because my mind is constantly going. And
Right.
I just, yeah, so
Yeah.
just another step in trying to better myself or just change how I look at things.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's a good one.
that is a good one.
Mhm.
I think I would say acceptance as well, and maybe being content where I am in my life. Accepting my past, but moving forward from it. I will be driving or at work or wherever, and something that happened in my past that I did when I was drunk will like pop up.
Oh, yeah.
And it kind of like, just tears me down a little bit. So just, accepting that what happened in the past and trying to look at it as that made me kind of who I am today, and I can learn from those experiences, and being content where I am in my life and grateful for where I am in my life. I see a lot of people who really struggle to be where I'm at today, and so just being content and grateful and appreciative for it.
Awesome.
Yeah.
That's great. That's awesome. You know what? Actually, that's kind of where I'm at also. I have a very similar thing. I've had a lot of ants, as they call them, automatic negative thoughts lately. And I've thought I had kind of gotten rid of them, but I had a couple more this morning where I'm just in the shower and I get sucked down by this old thought, and I'm literally just taking a shower, and all of a sudden I'm like,
Right.
when I was a child,
Yeah.
like for no reason, like in this place of like, fear and guilt, and I'm like, why am I down there? You know what I mean? I don't know why I'm down there. And so I think I need to write a fear inventory, first of all,
Yeah.
but also I was talking to Danielle right before you got here, and I was talking about acceptance of my job, because we're trying to reformulate or rearrange my department, and my boss is doing some stuff, and it's good, but I'm not in control. But I was just complaining like 4 months ago that I was in charge and I didn't want to be in charge. But now I'm not in control, and so then I'm upset about it. So
Right.
like I just got to make up my mind.
Right.
But now I'm not in control, so I'm like, and it makes me feel uncomfortable. But I have to accept that. Just try it other people's ways, and if I'm not there and they do stuff without me, that is okay.
Right.
They can work without me.
Mhm.
I am not the center of the universe. I didn't know if you do that.
Yeah, right.
So yeah, I agree with those two. I think acceptance is one of the hardest things.
It is.
Like continually,
Yeah.
like continually having it with each thing that comes up.
Yeah.
At least for me.
I think that is my biggest thing, where I'm just like trying to, every situation is just trying to accept it. And like, I can't control it. I wish I could control everything.
I know.
But just being okay with not knowing.
Yep. All right. What is the greatest gift you have been given recently by recovery?
My relationship with my parents.
Oh,
It's freaking amazing. Yeah, I go over every morning on my way to work and have coffee with them, and
Oh.
it's like the best part of my day. I'm gonna start
I
crying.
know, I'm gonna start crying for you. Oh my gosh.
It's just changed so much, and I wouldn't change it for anything. It's
that's
great.
awesome. That's
They're like my best friends.
That's amazing. I'm sure that they think it's wonderful too.
I hope so. They tell
Oh,
me.
I'm sure that they do.
Oh yeah.
Your mom adores
I know.
you. I know she does.
Yeah, they're gonna be listening to this. I said it. But
Oh.
yeah, it's a huge gift.
That's awesome. What about you?
Yeah, I think I would say the same thing. Having a relationship with my mom again, and being able to set boundaries with my father, who's still an alcoholic. So yeah, being just grateful that I have a relationship with my mom again, because our relationship was just not good. We were both in active addiction. So that doesn't really work out when we're both sober today. So I'm very grateful for that. And then, having a relationship with my grandparents, who they've been the ones to really support me throughout my life. And so being able to help them out, with chores around the house and their plants and whatever else they need, just being able to be there for other people,
Yeah.
because everyone's always been there for me, but I haven't always been there for them.
Yeah.
So,
Great.
Yeah. Yeah, I think also the same thing, just showing up for life.
Yeah.
Just like being present and awake.
exactly. Yeah.
I always felt I thought I was there and I was being present and awake and I thought I was doing a thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And now that I am, I was like, no, I was not at all.
Yeah,
It's
right.
not
You
showing
know, and I was like,
Yeah.
oh, I thought I was doing all this stuff, and now that I'm here and awake and I'm vibrant and bright and
Mhm.
just so involved with people as they're talking,
Right.
and so like loving what they're saying and giving hugs and being interactive and like remembering to call people
Remembering, yeah.
and remembering to do things that they
Right.
asked me, remembering birthdays without checking Facebook.
Oh my
Right,
gosh,
exactly.
I'm still
You know,
working.
not always, not always. I'm not perfect. But you know what I mean? Like, just like things come up and I actually remember to do human things instead of having to just say, oh, I forgot about that again. I forgot about this again. I forgot about that. I forgot. And having all that guilt follow me around
Yeah.
because I didn't remember anything because I was drunk all the time.
Right.
And all the drinking just removed all those human things from me.
Yeah.
You know, I was just a drunk. I wasn't a human, And I just love showing up and having, like, I wake up and I pray and then I just think all day. I'm like, I was doing chores, thinking about how grateful I am while I was doing chores.
Yeah.
Annoying chores. And I was just like, how is this possible? You know what I mean? And I don't know. My mind is full of gratitude and I just love it. I just love it. And I don't want to ever live a different way.
Yeah.
I don't ever want to live a different way anymore. I can't do it. This is the life to have.
Right.
This is where it's at. This is where it's at.
Yeah.
So
This on a Sunday.
so you guys
wouldn't
know,
be happening.
this is where it's at. All right. Well, that's the end of our questions, ladies.
All right.
Hey.
So thank you to our guests and our audience for being a part of our sobriety today.
Thank you so much for giving us some of your time. We really hope you got something out of today's episode. We would be honored if you would like and share the episode or leave a review or comment with your takeaways. Don't forget to subscribe to tune into future episodes. Have a great day.